And what sort of trip you had over?
It's been lovely, smooth all the way.
It has.
And I don't think we've had one case of seasickness in the whole trip.
Well, how are Lindsay and Miller? Are they fit?
Both 100% fit, I would say. We saw them play in Colombo, and neither showed any sign of any injury whatsoever.
Well, that's fine. We'd like them that way anyhow. Now, what about the young players? We're very interested to see them. Can you tell us something about them?
Well, only that they are a very interesting band. I should say the best band of young players that we've brought over to England. And I think out of this team we'll have some great names.
We obviously were getting better. We were getting more players coming through. People have forgotten now that we had 6 years of war, and they say we didn't do well in 46 here, and we didn't do well in 48, didn't do well in... Of course we didn't. I mean, no one had played for 6 years, so it took time, but these chaps were coming through.
Well, it never... All right, you do have butterflies in your tummy, this sort of situation, but I've never worried about if I should get out early, if you follow what I mean. I've never worried that way. If I did get out, it just happens. But I must say, if you'd had asked me as I was going out, I wouldn't have said that, yeah, I'll stay there all day. I couldn't have said that. Not with against players like the ones with the Australian side.
Once again, the tide seems to be turning as Trevor Bailey hits back with a vengeance.
I came up by train with my wife, and I read the English press all the way up on the Fenchurch Street line, and it still took a long time then. And they'd all written us off, which I thought was a little irritating, because Dennis was actually batting, and I hadn't even gone in. And it worked out.
Well, you don't say much to Trevor, you know. You just look at his face, and you know the type of player he was, and, you know, he was a player of a situation, wasn't he? For a situation. I mean, I've always thought that of Trevor. And just the look on his face could tell you that they weren't going to get him out easily.
I thought if we played straight all the way and saw off the second new ball, we could just about do it.
I mean, you were hit about the hands a few times.
Yes, I don't think... it was a tense situation. I think the nicest compliment paid, as far as I was concerned about that innings, was by the Scottish Rugby International, who came in to the tavern for a drink at sort of 2 o'clock, because he can get a pint of beer there, and it was 4 o'clock before he'd realised he hadn't drunk it. Now, you can't get a nicer compliment than that.
It was after the new ball, in the middle of the afternoon, the new ball had gone. We'd had taken tea, and then we came out after tea, and we were still all right. And during the course of an over, we walked up to the middle, and I said to Trevor, do you think we could get these runs? And he gave me one look and just turned away.
The double centuries on the board as Watson's still punishing the ball. He and Bailey are putting up a terrific stand. A flash of Watson's bat and he's got his 100. First to congratulate him are the Aussies themselves. But the young Yorkshireman adds only 9 more runs to his century before he's caught.
If he said to me, you know, was it my best innings that I played? I'd say no, I think I've played better cricket innings.
What have your old mates, Lindwall and Miller, said about that particular session?
Poor chaps, I said, well, you've had it your own way for many, many years, you boys. Be satisfied with small mercies. Expected to get to the wicket. You see, I thought it would be either Peter May or my great old mate, Bill, would win it, and that would have been as happy an occasion for me, just the same. But Peter got out and left me with Bill, and it just happened to be that Bill got a single, and it got me up the other end, and it was then that I scored the 4 runs, which actually won the Ashes for us.
Last season you thought and said that we would win the Ashes. Now, did you really, in your heart of hearts, feel that, or...?
Yes, I thought we had a very good chance. I would have liked to have done it at Leeds in Yorkshire, but I don't... I'm very happy and well satisfied that we've managed to do it here at the Oval, which is, of course, one of my favourite grounds.
He was very shrewd, very good setter of fields. I think possibly thought the spinners weren't quite as good as the faster bowlers, which a lot of captains who are batsmen tend to think. But he was a good captain, and he did an ideal job. He gave nothing away. He was brought up in a pretty good school. Yorkshire did know their cricket, and it's a pretty useful academy to be brought up in.
He was also the first professional captain of England that year.
Yes, he was, yes.
Was that a sensation at the time?
I don't think so. I think it had to come eventually, but I think Len found it rather difficult because I think he felt that everyone, or at least a lot of people, didn't want a professional to captain England.
So I started playing against the Australians in 1938. So then came the war, then we lost the series in 46, we lost in 50, we lost over here in 48, which was probably one of the greatest Australian sides under Bradman. So I thought we were never going to win. So it took from the time of 38 to 53 for us to win. And it really was a wonderful moment for me, for Bill Eridge, and I think for the whole of the side. The other thing about it too, Tony, which I vividly remember, is the Australians, under the captaincy of Lindsay Hasset, entered into the sort of celebration spirit of the whole thing when we had won, as if they'd won it themselves. In the dressing room, Keith Miller, Ray Limwell, all of them. It was the most wonderful party.